Okay, I'm going to show you guys a clip of a lady that's performing, in my opinion. We'll talk about that. Enlightenment and being centered. And she's talking about how life is not a journey, it's a destination. I want you to check out the visuals. It's in Hebrew, so I'm sure that you've seen a million of these in a billion languages. I'll just narrate it. She says, soon will I...
Cuando vengo, no más vengo, no más vengo. Gran Espíritu sabrás a lo que vengo. A entregar mi corazón, mi corazón. Corazón que es lo único que tengo. Corazón que es lo único que tengo.
Now, I agree with that message, but some caveats. And let's introduce ChatGPT and have this conversation. Hi, ChatGPT, how are you?
Hey, I'm doing great. Thanks for asking. How's it going on your end?
It's great. So let me read you a post by this lady that we were just watching her thing, and you tell me what you think, okay?
Sure, go ahead. I'm listening.
Okay, so she's writing the experience. I'll just get to this place and that little more. When I'm more smart, thinner, richer, as good as I can finally get and let go, everything would be amazing. It happens a lot, but it's an illusion. The illusion of most humanity holds on to, even if under the guise of spiritual development. The little anxious figure inside us will always make sure to show us how wrong we are and actually leave us with a constant feeling of disappointment. And she goes on and on. But the point of the matter is that she's trying to say that there's a journey and it's the destination, and there is no destination. And it's wrapped up in a beautiful post, very spiritual. And she also has a very apropos short video or reel of her swimming in nature, etc., etc. So far, so good.
Yeah, I get the gist. It sounds like she's emphasizing the idea that the pursuit of an idealized future self, smarter, thinner, richer, can become a trap. By always chasing a future state, you never actually find contentment in the present. The notion that the journey is the destination is a common theme in spiritual and self-help circles, aiming to shift focus from future goals to present mindfulness. But it can sometimes feel a bit like a cliché, or even a way to gloss over real challenges and aspirations.
So
What's your take?
So yeah, what I want you to do is I want you to answer according to our philosophers, the framework that we have, existential philosophy, and all the guys that we like talking about. In my opinion, this is super performative. Now, the message I agree with wholeheartedly. Of course, life is a journey and not a destination. But there's something sweet and honest and present about saying, listen, she's talking about, by the way, about her being 34 and unmarried and with no children and a little overweight, because she is a little overweight. And I think there's something beautiful about somebody saying, listen, I did not acquire these things. I did not acquire these things that are important to me. Children, marriage, a better physique. And this is a failure to me. And it's okay to say that this is a failure to me. I know failure is a loaded word, but I think that it almost borderlines nihilism to say that nothing matters and nothing will keep you satisfied. And basically, I think it's kind of a cop-out.
From an existential perspective, drawing on thinkers like Nietzsche, Alan Watts, and Jung, there's a strong emphasis on authenticity and confronting the reality of one's situation. Acknowledging where you stand without sugarcoating it is crucial. Nietzsche, for instance, would likely argue that facing uncomfortable truths is part of forging a stronger, more authentic self. Alan Watts would probably highlight the importance of seeing through illusions, but also not falling into the trap of nihilism. Jung would encourage integrating these so-called failures into a holistic understanding of oneself rather than denying them. Your point about performativity is spot on. There's often a disconnect between projecting a polished, inspirational message and living an authentic, examined life. Existentialism teaches that acknowledging the weight of our choices and circumstances, including what we perceive as failures, can be a path to genuine growth. So, while the message of embracing the journey is valuable, it shouldn't come at the cost of glossing over the real, concrete aspects of one's life that need attention or change. There's a balance between acceptance and striving for what genuinely matters to you.
I absolutely agree. I think, first of all, it's a denial mechanism. And also, why post it? Why post if you're so centered and present and you're so in control of what you're doing? Why post it in such a demonstrative way? And that, again, if we're asking about Nietzsche and Jung and all the wonderful thinkers that we're talking about, first of all, the denial is a rejection of the shadow. It's a rejection of unwanted things. I think it's doubling down on something that is. I'm not sure doubling down would be the correct way to explain this. But obviously, this person, it matters to them, because something that doesn't matter to you, you would not post about it. You would not seek external validation by posting and creating an entire persona and an online entity in order to project that, right?
Exactly. From a Jungian perspective, the insistence on projecting a certain image of enlightenment or contentment often highlights the presence of a shadow element, unacknowledged fears, insecurities, or desires. Nietzsche would likely argue that this kind of performative affirmation is a form of self-deception, masking the will to power or the underlying struggle with one's reality. Posting such content often suggests a need for external validation, which contradicts the idea of being wholly present or self-sufficient. It's a common paradox in the social media age, where the pursuit of authenticity can ironically lead to more performance. It's a nuanced issue, but your point stands. If someone were truly at peace with their journey, they might not feel compelled to broadcast it in such a curated way.
I agree, and I want to stress one more point again. First of all, by no means am I saying that you should be a victim of your needs of society, and I'm not saying that society isn't asleep, but this is not waking up in my opinion. Waking up is acknowledging that there's a beauty in understanding yourself and recognizing and admitting and facing a temporary failure, a temporary situation in which you're not getting what you wanted, acknowledging that you wanted. I right now have no money. I am saying I am jealous of people that have money, and I know that I want to have money. I want to be independent. I want to be heard. I want a lot of things. I acknowledge that this exists. And I think the healthy thing, and I think that the philosophers will agree with me, the healthy thing is to acknowledge it, not identifying as a failure, but identifying the failure, the lack. You are not the lack, but the lack exists. There's nothing wrong with saying that.
Absolutely. There's a profound strength in acknowledging one's desires and unmet goals without letting them define your entire identity. Nietzsche, Jung, and other existential thinkers would likely support the idea that real growth and waking up come from facing reality as it is, not from pretending everything is already perfect or irrelevant. Acknowledging a lack or a desire doesn't mean you're wallowing in it. It means you're honest about where you are and what you want. That honesty can be a powerful catalyst for genuine self-improvement and personal growth. It's not about becoming a victim of circumstances, but about using that awareness to navigate life with clarity and purpose. So, recognizing and admitting these failures or unmet needs is not a sign of weakness. It's a sign of self-awareness and authenticity. That's a much more grounded and ultimately fulfilling approach.
I think that this is also symptomatic of modern society, of the fat acceptance movement, and I think that transgenderism and other things, that I think that people don't accept their failures and their bad qualities, and other people either maliciously or out of a misguided, misplaced empathy, are instead of being truthful, which I think is paramount and all the time. I may be wrong, but that's my opinion. And instead of being truthful, which is the most helpful, are actually sugarcoating reality for a lot of people. It's okay to be unmarried at 40, nothing's going to happen, you can freeze your eggs, that's one thing. It's fine to be fat, doesn't mean you're not healthy. A man can be a woman, etc., 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 with disregard to reality. And that really, really is to the detriment of those people that you're saying that you think you're helping. You're not helping.
Your perspective highlights a tension between radical acceptance and honest self-reflection. While there's value in compassion and acceptance, there's also a crucial need for confronting reality and striving for genuine self-improvement. Nietzsche, for example, emphasized the importance of confronting uncomfortable truths and overcoming obstacles rather than avoiding them with comforting narratives. The challenge in modern discourse is finding a balance, acknowledging and validating individuals' experiences and struggles while also encouraging them to confront reality and pursue growth. Sugarcoating reality can indeed be harmful if it prevents people from taking necessary steps toward improvement or addressing underlying issues. Ultimately, a healthy approach might be one that combines empathy with a commitment to truth, recognizing people's worth and struggles while also encouraging them to strive for genuine improvement and alignment with reality.
I agree with that, and maybe it would be a good conclusion to say that there's a lot of power in empathy, and I don't think we need not be empathetic. I don't think that's a good prescription for anybody. But I do think, again, that some people are malicious and some people are just misguided. And I think that if we really want to do the most good, that is my ideology, and you don't have to accept it. That's what I think, and I think it's tried and tested. I think the more truth you tell people in a loving way, I think that you get better results for that individual. And I think that radical acceptance and all these things, you can apply it to yourself. You can accept a lot of things about yourself and about what other people did to you. But I think that you're not doing a good job for other people by radically accepting them shooting themselves in the leg. And I wonder if you could tell me, other than your comments, what Alan Watts would say about that. What would Hinduism say about that? About accepting things as they are, about the great illusion. It's also interesting.
Your conclusion is well put. Balancing empathy with truth is a powerful way to support real growth and self-improvement in others. Alan Watts often spoke about the importance of seeing through illusions and understanding the nature of the self. He emphasized the idea that while acceptance of reality is crucial, it doesn't mean passivity or complacency. Instead, it's about seeing the world as it is and then acting from a place of deep understanding. Watts often critiqued the notion of clinging to socially constructed identities and illusions, advocating for a kind of awakening to a deeper, more authentic self. Hinduism, particularly through concepts like Maya, illusion, and Dharma, also emphasizes the importance of recognizing the nature of reality. Accepting things as they are is a fundamental aspect of many Hindu teachings, but this acceptance is not about resignation. Instead, it's about understanding the illusion of the ego and worldly attachments, and then acting in accordance with one's true nature and purpose. Both perspectives suggest that genuine freedom and growth come from seeing things clearly and acting from a place of deep self-awareness and truth, rather than from illusions or societal expectations.
So, to conclude this conversation, and I'm sure that you would agree with me, that if we're looking at this lady, that I wish her all the best. I really do. And other performative spiritualists, what is actually happening is they substituted one illusion, society's illusion of status and capitalist mechanisms into another one of this faux, fake spiritual illusion. And in both places, the ego is actually operating rather than a true acknowledgement of reality.
I do agree. The shift from one illusion to another often keeps the ego at the center, just wearing a different mask. True spiritual growth or awakening, as many philosophers and spiritual traditions suggest, involves seeing through these layers of illusion and coming to terms with reality as it is, beyond the ego's narratives. By acknowledging reality, whether it's personal shortcomings, desires, or societal constructs, there's a path to more authentic living. The goal is not to replace one illusion with another, but to transcend the need for illusion altogether, finding a more grounded and honest way of being. So yes, wishing her and others well in their journey, but also recognizing that true fulfillment often lies in facing reality head-on, rather than swapping one illusion for another.
So I'm going to conclude with this summary. I wish this lady all the best, but the ego is a funny thing, and it's a very, very shifty, manipulative thing that doesn't let go that easily. And I want to offer you this. Admitting that you're in a messed up situation in life is the true recognition of reality and the truest form of acceptance and of clarity and of presence. Admitting to yourself of what you want, of the things that you don't have, and just acknowledging them the same way that we're taught by spiritual gurus and spiritual guides to acknowledge negative thoughts, to see them as clouds in the sky. But that means that we recognize them. Our wants are the same. It is fine to say, I want this and that. I am jealous of this and that. That's from a Hinduist point of view, from an existentialist point of view, from a Jungian point of view. The people who do not understand what is screaming and begging and asking to be manifested in reality from inside of them are doomed to repeat the same patterns in different masks. And I'll leave you with that.